Morning, folks. Welcome to our daily devotional for today. This morning we turn to Psalm number 71. And before we look at the verse that I want us to focus on, which is verse 16, let me ask you a question. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you feel like you just can't go on? Times perhaps when it seems as though everything's against you. Times perhaps when you're frustrated. Times when you're being opposed by those who maybe instead of opposing you should actually be supporting you. And you feel like just giving up. The psalmist who wrote this psalm found himself in that very situation. There were people who were opposing him, people who were trying to bring him down. There were those who set out to harm him. And the psalmist knew that this was the case. And in this psalm, as you read through it, you find that he speaks of these things. What was the psalmist to do? Well, in verse 16, he says this: I will go in the strength of the Lord God. I will go in the strength of the Lord God. The psalmist knew that if he relied on his own strength to try and keep on going at a time in his life when he was finding things extremely difficult, that his own strength would fail him, that he wouldn't be able to persevere. He knew that all the people who were opposing him, those who had set themselves against him, would wear him down, and he would finally give up and wouldn't continue. But the psalmist didn't rely on his own strength. He knew that he had resources outside of himself. And his chief resource was in the Lord. And so he says, I will go in the strength of the Lord God. Brethren, at times in life when things are difficult, times in life when perhaps we feel like giving up, whether it's because of discouragement, whether it's because of opposition, whether it's because of frustrated hopes and ambitions, let us remember that our strength for continuing is to be found not in ourselves, but in God. In the work of the ministry, any minister will tell you that there are times when he feels like giving up. There are times when the work seems so difficult, when there are those who oppose, when there is little to encourage, when there is little fruit to be seen. And Satan comes along and does exactly what the psalmist's enemies was doing to him in his day. He tries to get you to give up and to pack things in. The psalmist is one who reminds us that we must keep going. And we keep going in the strength of the Lord our God. I will go in the strength of the Lord God. That's a wonderful verse for a pastor. It's a wonderful verse for any believer. I will go. Keep going. Go on. Regardless of the difficulties, regardless of the challenges, regardless of the opposition, I will go in the strength of the Lord. You remember the words of the Apostle Paul in the letter to the Philippians. He writes to them and he says, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. As you go into the day, take this thought with you: I will go in the strength of the Lord God. May God richly bless you.